What up, Bars Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Bars podcast. I am your host, Kimron Corian, and today I have Mr. Antonio Prescott with me, a fellow fellow Caribbean. No, fellow Caribbean man like myself from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm from Grenada, so we're very close by. Antonio, welcome to Dropping Bars.
Thank you very much, and I love the introduction.
Absolutely. So Antonio, why don't you tell the Bars Nation who is Antonio Prescott?
Antonio Prescott is a guy that saw the vision for sales, and seeing that sales is a profession that you have the capacity to earn unlimited commission, it just blew my mind. And I would just like to share a short snippet of Antonio Prescott's story, how it is that he got into sales. So essentially, my deceased father, his best friend, told me, Antonio, a lady is selling a vehicle at a very reasonable price. I believe that despite that you have a vehicle, you should still go to see this vehicle. And if you want to maybe start a business with that vehicle or keep it for yourself, sell it, so ever the case is. This was approximately, I would say, 19, 20 years of age. Saw this vehicle, Kimron, and the vehicle was in great condition, but the lady had some financial strains. So she said, Antonio, I will sell this vehicle to you for approximately 1,500 USD. And I bought that vehicle and I was able to sell that vehicle and earned 100% profit. And then, Kimron, I decided that I'm going to sell anything that I get my hands on, and I started to sell electronics, women clothes. Then I morphed into working at different companies, appliance companies that I sell home care products, and essentially now selling my services as a sales, marketing, linking trainer coach.
Oh, fantastic. So right now, like I said, you sell anything you get your hands on.
Correct.
Okay. So that's good. Now, tell me a little bit about the Antonio now before the sale started. So in terms of a little bit of your upbringing. So I imagine you grew up in Trinidad, or was it you grew up outside of Trinidad?
I grew up in Trinidad, to be exact, in Trinity area, which is close to the airport and Trinity Mall. I'm sure most people in the Caribbean know that mall.
Yeah, I know it.
Huge mall. Yeah. So essentially, humble person who always looking to help others, because I believe in being a cheerful giver. I believe that when it is you bless others, it will be reciprocated, and it not necessarily mean that when you bless others that you have to broadcast it on social media. That is something that you keep within your heart, and in that way, blessings come your way. But anytime you broadcast it and you tell others and these things, it's like you're doing it for the publication side of it, to be a public figure, not necessarily out of your own genuine heart.
Okay, so now you started, like I say, or 1920. You sold the car. Realized that you lost sale. You realized that you had you had an affinity for it. You went on to start selling different products, different services. Today you have you have your own business. You sell your services as a trainer, consultant, and so on and so forth. Now, do you? In terms of starting your own business, because I know you worked for companies before.
Yeah.
How did you what was the impetus that said to you that you wanted to transition from working for somebody or working for a company to doing your own thing? What was that? What was that driving force for you?
Great question. Seeing that as a salesperson, you are considered an entrepreneur. Once it is that you could sell and bring in revenue for an organization, if you use your brain capacity a bit more, then you could own your own business. So when I saw that I was selling so much for the companies that I work for, I told myself that I could sell for my own self. And then with the invention of SaaS companies, software as a service, I was intrigued at how these companies generate so much revenue and that the overheads were so limited because they don't need a brick and mortar building. They essentially just sell a service like a software service. They sell in the technological space. And I decided now, hey, why not sell my service as a sales and marketing trainer coach to companies, to individuals? And when I got the first opportunity and I saw how it make me feel so great inside to know that I delivered a training and not just delivered, but the attendees, they get so much out of it that they was like, hey, awesome, continue doing what you have to do. So that gave me that inspiration. And from there, I just continued and I just each time try to better myself. So it's all about the attendees, it's all about the business, the companies that I train, and not about me. It's all about delivering a bespoke training and not a generic one,
Right. So you're focused on delivering value so that the participants can get something from it, and it's not about you and what you want, but it's really what they want. That's good, because I do training as well, and it's a similar mindset. So so tell me then, as it relates to what did you have any in making that transition from going from selling for a company? By the way, was it a case whereby you were selling and it was like a commission based selling, or was it a case whereby there's a base salary plus commission on the sale, or it was just strictly salaried? What was it like when you're working for the company?
I worked at Electrolux and it was base salary, traveling, and we would get like allowance for our phones and such. And eventually, as time go by, then they brought out a commission-based structure, and it really was helpful because now we get inspired, motivated to sell more, because the more we sell is the more that we can earn.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That I thought so. So now, did you have any obstacles along the way that you had to overcome as when you're working for those companies as a sales professional? If yes, what were they? How did you overcome them? And also, did you have any obstacles in when you were moving from working for a company to working for yourself? What were some of those obstacles, and how did you overcome them?
Working for a company and dealing with customers, it could be irritating at times, because you have to really understand the customer needs, wants, and most customers, Kimran, don't even know what they want. It's like I'm selling home care products. Let's say a customer walks into a showroom and they want to purchase a refrigerator. I will ask the necessary questions. The size of your family, tell me. What are you looking for? Is it a top mount refrigerator side by side? What color? Stainless steel, white or black? What price point are you working with? Is it that you have a budget or you don't have a budget? And they will be like, well, I'm not too sure. It's 3 of us in the family, and I think that we want a white refrigerator. But then after, I love the stainless steel. So, I have to think about it. What do you think? I think that you should go for the stainless steel. But then after, my husband told me that he like white. So, and these kind of things, it will get you irritated, but you really have to work with the customer. And that could be a bit of a challenge, So that was some of the challenges faced working for an organization, and then now entering into my own as being a service provider. It was a lot challenging as well, because what I would say, and I will say this, truthfully, in my country, Trinidad, it have a lot of bureaucracy. And when it comes to selection of a trainer for a company, the decision-making process, it takes so long. They know that they have a gap that needs to be filled. And it's like they're taking 1 month, 2 months to make a decision. But I started to utilize LinkedIn heavily, and I got opportunities more internationally. And if I have a meeting with some potential client in the US and they realize that after the conversation, hey, I need this service and this guy seems like a great service provider, they instantly would say, yes, I need your service. Let's start next week. They don't even think twice about it. So
Right.
the opportunities on an international scale was more than my local country. I love my country, Trinidad and Tobago, but in terms of decision-making process, we should be a bit snippy on it. You know you have a need, you know that if it is that need don't be filled, it will cost the company money. So why not just go forward with it and bring a solution to that problem?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sometimes the bureaucracy in organizations could be crazy sometimes, with both the public and the private sector. So now, Antonio, let's talk a little bit more about what you do, the services that you offer. So I know you call your service marketing
Yes.
or S marketing. I don't know. So do you pronounce it S marketing or smart
Marketing.
marketing? So tell me about marketing, because the truth is I haven't heard that before. Before you mentioned it to me, and I read it in the message that you sent to me. So what is marketing? Like, talk to me about that.
Well, the great thing about marketing is that if someone was to go and search that on Google or in a dictionary, may not all dictionary to be in, but it's actually a word, it's sales and marketing combined together. We've seen the modern day seller, he has or she has to be a marketer as well, because you need to market before you sell. So you have to incorporate the two if you want to be a modern day seller. The traditional seller, they was more focusing on the sales, but the market has become so competitive that you have to do more. You have to do marketing, you have to do sales, you have to do personal branding, you have to incorporate some sort of graphic design, because when it is now that you are, let's say, setting your catalog and you have to change it around for that particular industry, you may not necessarily all the time reach out to your graphic designer, certain things that you could tweak for yourself, so you need all these things combined to be effective as a modern day seller.
Right. And if you were to provide some, I guess, some advice, so to maybe there's somebody who's watching who might be in a business, they're working in sales and marketing. What kind of tips can you give to persons who might be interested in sales, as to become better at sales? Like, what advice can you tell somebody to say, hey, you can do X, Y, Z if you want to become better at sales?
Definitely, I would start by one, understanding your customer needs. It's all about the customer and not about you. I think companies don't understand the fact that people buy from people. So you may have a product or products, and they don't necessarily have to agree with the customer because they want something different. So once you understand the needs, the wants of the customer, then after you could know what to provide. Two, honesty and integrity. Customers don't like when it is that a business may tell a tale, lie to them. You always want to have transparency. Integrity and character is most important, because if you don't have a good character, you don't have anything. Your brand, your identity is your character, and it falls behind your business because you're representing your business. Three, research and development. You always need to check what your competitors are doing and see if it is that you could provide an authentic service or authentic product different from them. Don't necessarily, because let's say they're providing a certain product, that you should provide that too. Maybe you could be different, but you have to understand what the market needs right now. What is trending is not necessarily always the best way forward, but understanding the needs, understanding, hey, I can be different, that could be a game changer to any business. Four, being on social media, and not just saying Instagram, Facebook, but being on all these different platforms. It's a reason, Kimron, that these platforms are free. It's for us to utilize. I could go and speak in a group of 100, 200 persons, and that is only what I can reach. But if I were to do a video and disperse that on different social media platforms, I could reach thousands of people. So we need to incorporate social media into our business and not just Facebook, Instagram, but I would say YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform that you really want to incorporate because it have all the persons who in the corporate environment, and you could easily connect with decision makers. Sometimes you may call an organization, cold call, and it may be someone new as the receptionist, and you are asking for someone in the purchasing department, and they may mix it up and give you someone in the marketing department. But when you utilize LinkedIn and you have like Sales Navigator, that is a premium subscription that you pay for monthly, approximately 100 USD per month, which is beneficial. You now could utilize that software, which is a separate entity of LinkedIn, but it's related to LinkedIn. You could go and see who are the decision makers for each organization. So you're now getting the ideal decision makers rather than calling a company and it could be someone new, or they could make a mistake and they give you that wrong person, which is basically wasting time, and we know time is money.
Right. No, that's great. Those are some great tips, and I hope that the people that are looking on, that works in a business, works in sales, marketing, they actually pay particular attention to what you were saying. So now, in terms of what you do, so you do sales training. So as of right now, you no longer do the actual sales itself, but you focus on the training.
No,
correct?
Yeah, I don't actually do the sales itself because I find that it's so much information that I have to provide because I'm always updating myself. I love technology, and when we see the modern day seller, you need to incorporate all the new technology that keep on rolling out. So some salespeople, when it is that I have conversations with them, they don't realize that this new technology has come out in the market because they enter the same traditional selling, cold calling, going to prospects, which is not bad. But hear this, if it is now, as I mentioned, could utilize LinkedIn, see who are the decision makers, message them, send them an email, and then book a meeting with them. Then I go and we have that meeting. Rather than I go to them and all they give you is a generic email address because they don't know you or your company. So they're afraid to give you the actual email address. So essentially wasting time. And as we know, time is money.
Right. So for you, LinkedIn is a great lead generator for you.
Definitely, because LinkedIn right now reach over 900 million people on LinkedIn. And when we think about LinkedIn, the first thing comes to mind, yes, I know job opportunities, but it has morphed into more. What other platform that you know of that you could go and you could type in Kimron Korean and see, well, hey, this guy, he does trading and stuff, podcasts and these things. You would know that on Instagram or Facebook, but you get to know who maybe the CEO of Republic Bank on LinkedIn. But if you type in the first name, you would know if they are the CEO of Republic Bank or Scotia Bank. So just by getting that insight, you know exactly who you are prospecting to. So I think that is tremendous.
And would you say you get most of your clients right now from social media, LinkedIn in particular, or do you get them from like other areas?
If I tell you something, Kimron, I hardly, leave home because the time I leave home is so much people messaging, hey, let's book a call, because the world now is not limited. We have social media, everybody is interacting virtually, and the pandemic has taught us that we could actually work with each other any part of the world. So I realized that every time I leave home, if I leave home to meet one client, yes, if it's a meeting that we booked, definitely I will give that time. But if I just going out to prospect, it don't make sense. It's better I stay in front of the computer. I have my phone, I have all the different social media platforms, and I utilize. Have a conversation virtually, have a next one, and utilize my time. I love the fact that time blocking, where you schedule out your hours and what tasks that you do, so that with that structure, it will bring more results for you.
So most of your prospecting is done online.
Definitely, 100%.
You don't have the proposals or anything like that?
Well, I will send proposals online and these things, but it's still like to go in person only if it is through online that someone book a meeting and they said they rather meet in person. Yes,
Gotcha.
I don't mind. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's really good. That's really good.
Thank
No, is there any sales advice that you hear people giving other people that you know is total nonsense? Like,
Yes.
can you share one or maybe you have two with us that you hear people say, okay, you should do this or you should do that, and you know it's total nonsense that people should not be paying attention to it. Anything that we should not be paying attention to as sales advice or marketing advice, whichever one.
Lead generation. It have people will be telling you need to obtain 1,000 leads, because if you obtain 1,000 leads, the probability that you could close 100 is likely low. Leads can be qualified and unqualified leads. Imagine you are a loan specialist at a financial institution and you have 1,000 leads. And out of those 1,000 leads, 800 of them achieve a salary of, let's say, 500 USD per month. And to qualify for the loan that you are offering, you need to have a minimum salary of 800 USD per month. What will happen? You just wasting your time because so many leads that you interact with. So I always say that you have to narrow down your leads as to who would be qualified leads to unqualified leads. Sometimes you could have 100 qualified leads and close more leads than someone who gives you leads, and it will be 1,000 leads. So that is something that you really have to really know who it is that you are targeting and getting some sort of information about them, some sort of background information, so that they and you yourself wouldn't waste each other's time.
Right. Okay, gotcha. That's good, because I do hear a lot of that advice going around. Try to get as much as leads as possible, so at least you improve the 10% or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't work.
Okay, great. So Antonio, talk to me about what are some of the lessons like that you've learned along the way, whether it's life lessons, business lessons, something that sometimes we hear like something from a mentor or some expert or maybe our parents, something that they will share with us that kind of I would say help shape us who we are. What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way throughout your journey? Growing up in Trinidad, in your travels, working for companies, having your own business as a marketer, right? What are some lessons, life lessons that you've learned along the way that I can share with the Boss Nation?
One, Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people that you spend your time with. And this is extremely profound, because if you are a young lady and you hang around females who are considered as women who tend to flaunt themselves, if it is that you are looking at a guy that you see yourself being with and developing some sort of relationship and further into marriage, he may not necessarily look at you as that based on the friends that you have. So if you want to grow professionally, you need to hang around persons who you want to aspire to be. That is something that always stick with me. And based on traveling, I get to realize that in the Caribbean, if you tell someone, hey, let's meet over a cup of coffee at a Starbucks location, they may be thinking that, all sorts of different things. Is this guy trying to come on at me? Is this guy trying to take me away? Something like this. But internationally, if it is that you tell someone, let's have a conversation over a cup of coffee, they gladly will meet you because they realize that connections is everything. And let's be real. If a guy tells you that have a conversation and let's meet at Starbucks, have a cup of coffee, in your right mind of thinking, that guys have to be a good guy, a simple guy, because another guy would say, let's go and take a drink by the bar. Then you could be a bit more skeptical about that. So in the Caribbean, we're not embracing change. And when I say change, understanding that without connections, you may not necessarily get to take the next step. Because when you think about employment, it's like 80% networking. Most of the job opportunities is not based on the qualifications that you have. It's based on persons knowing you. If it is that you work at a company and you were able to deliver exceeding results, your name now is circulating among a list of people and they will reach out. So networking is important. Universities, they don't teach this. They teach you how to obtain a degree, then further a master's, but they don't tell you when you get this that you don't necessarily will get an opportunity, Kimron. You now have to go and network with people, go networking events, go maybe take up a particular sport like golf, where a lot of directors, businessmen plays this sport, and you could network with these people and opportunities can come your way. So that is something that, these are the things I should say that I learned in my life, and I continuously embrace it because I realize that the more hands you shake is the more money you can make.
I like that. The more hands you shake is the more money you can make. I like that.
Definitely.
All right. Dope. So, Antonio, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And as we wrap up this interview, is there any if you had a chance to speak to, let's say, some young people in whether it's high school or whatever from Grenada, from Trinidad, or from anywhere in the Caribbean, what would you say to them, to like young people coming up?
I would say to them, having an education is great, but just sit back and think about the persons that you're going to work for. Most of them don't have the education level that you have. What they had and maybe still have is a vision, and they work on that vision endlessly, sleeplessly, and they achieve it. So don't think that when you have a degree or obtain a master's that everything will fall in your garden. The best advice I can give is utilize social media. We are seeing that YouTubers are becoming millionaires. We're seeing that persons actually utilizing Instagram, the social media platforms, and working, collaborating with companies and making a fortune. Whatever it is that you have a passion for, go for it, because you don't want to live someone else's dream. That's my message.
That is profound. Live your dream. You don't want to live someone else's dream. So, Antonio, thank you so much for coming on to Dropping Bars and sharing those tidbits of wisdom with us. Thank you for coming and dropping some bars. And is there any final thing you want to say to the Bars Nation? I
just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to have this interview with me. It's most appreciated, and I wish endless success, and just keep positive in life. Things can be rocky, but once it is that we keep on that narrow path, 100% we will be successful. It's just like something that have to manifest itself.
And that's a great way to end. So, Bars Nation, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dropping Bars. We were talking there with Mr. Antonio Prescott, the smart guitar out of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, Antonio, thank you for coming on. And Bars Nation, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, wherever you're consuming this podcast, whether it's on YouTube, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, whether you're on Spotify. Subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast with somebody who can benefit from it. And I will see you next week for another episode of Dropping Bars. Thank you, everyone, and see ya.
Yo, a brighter star representing Dropping Bars with Kimran Korean. It's all about life lesson in a youth. Bob Marley do it with him mouth, Zidane do it with him foot. Never doubt yourself. Never lose the focus. Just some more positive content, Fully provision. Good meditation, dropping bars and I build the motivation. Yo, Kimran Korean, every ghetto youth, them a pre-elevation. Stop carry feelings, focus on the arts and craft. Get rid of all malice and dirty art, youth. Work hard, believe in your dreams. These are the motivation tips, dog. success strategies. Energy follow energies. Negative follow negativity. There is a free will to creativity. It's a journey within. Cause we dropping bars, dropping bars, dropping bars. We keep going hard, going hard, going hard. We keep dropping bars, dropping bars, dropping bars. Dropping bars, dropping bars. We keep going hard, going hard, going hard. Dropping bars, dropping bars.